Welcome to the MLMsuccess.com podcast, the show designed to return the network marketing industry to its roots of personal growth, leadership development, and wisdom of the ages success principles. We share with you real success stories from real people that we hope will inspire and encourage you personally and help you progress forward in your business and your life. We believe if you build people, people will build the business. Now here is your host, who has been called the number one mind in network marketing, the MLM Prophet, network marketing virtual mentor, and a host of other names that we will not mention because this is a family show. Frankly, he's just a small town guy that figured out that the real product in network marketing is people. Dale Calvert.
Hey guys, this is Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you to this session of the MLMsuccess.com podcast. Hope you've had a phenomenal, productive, focused week. I'm sure many of you have, based upon the conversations and emails that I'm getting from different people, really using this time to master new skill sets, new marketing methods, refining your launch process, refining your lead generation, refining your retention systems, and so on and so forth, really focusing in on these are the 5 core systems that it takes to build a huge duplicating organization, and really keying in on them and really refining them and making sure your people are on board. I've talked to several people, actually 3 people this week, that said, Dale, I went back and have reread leadership and the 1 Minute Manager, and I'm seeing it and hearing it and understanding it from a different perspective. And I get that you direct, and I got to direct, and I got to, it's my responsibility to help people systematically develop that franchise so I can hand them the keys. And they're getting it. And a lot of you I think, have gotten to different levels from the emails and the response that I'm getting. So I'm fired up about that for you guys. This is an off-the-wall kind of question, but it's really kind of common as well. Something, again, that I probably never would have addressed. I appreciate the emails and the questions you guys are sending in and the comments. It really has helped, and it will continue to help. This is from Stan, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Stan is in Hawaii. I believe. I can't remember, but I'm almost positive he's a new training club member. And I think enrolled in the Programming Your Mind for Success as well. But he had sent a message to Dawn, and when I read it, I'm thinking, okay, this is something I'm going to do a podcast on, because again, it's come up multiple times throughout the years, but it's something that I've never really addressed on a podcast. And I thought, well, it'll be valuable for Stan, and hopefully it will for you guys as well. And I'm really going to talk about a concept called isolate the objection. That's really what I'm talking about. Isolate the objection. And my general philosophy is, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So it doesn't matter what Robert Kiyosaki says about this being, the perfect business model for people to get started as an entrepreneur, which it is, without question. There's nothing that can compare to it. But a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So the first thing you have to do when you're communicating with people and they have objections is try to isolate the objection. And so we're going to talk about that, and Stan's going to help us here. Again, this is an email that he sent to Dawn asking a question, so let's get into it. We're going to get to this specific question, but we're going to talk about the broader concept as well. He says, here's a question for Dale. Always loved the network marketing business model, but not very impressed with the execution. A lot of business-minded, entrepreneur-minded people feel that way. I've said many times over the last couple of years, there was a time when network marketing was admired from afar. And now it's like the way things are being executed, how can anybody really build any kind of real business? It appears there's just, a couple of gurus and a bunch of followers that are just following, and where's the next level of leadership and everything else that we talk about on this podcast. But let me continue with his email. My wife recently had tremendous results from a product from Kyani, Kyani. I'm not sure how you say it, but I've heard of it. Kyani. I have run tech companies in the past, and the long story short, I chose the wrong horse, trading my time for equity in the company, which was eventually worthless. I'm now putting together a plan for a network marketing business. I have really appreciated the content you and Dale have put out into the marketplace. It's amazing how much quality content you guys put out there. So how do you handle the opportunity question when it comes to network marketing? As a franchise or business owner, I have a protected territory or a unique product. If I'm a franchise or a business owner, I have a protected territory, a unique product. In network marketing, there's no barriers to entry, no protected territory. And the analytical types do the math and ask how the opportunity will be great for the new business partner years from now as it is today. Thanks for your time. And that's from Stan. Truth. It won't be as great. The more credible a company is, the less of an upside opportunity exists with that company. I've said that for 20 years. That's reality. Let's look at the most credible company in the industry. What is it? Some may say Mary Kay, some may say Herbalife, some may say Shackley. Name a company, doesn't matter. Look at the most credible company in the industry, whatever that may be. A.L. Williams, Prime America is what it's called today. Whatever it is. This is just bottom line. This is just bottom line. The more credible a company is, the less of an upside potential, the less of an opportunity exists with that company. That's the truth. But with that said, the marketplace kind of changes because a lot of people get involved in network marketing with ground floor companies and they understand the risk and the reward. The risk is most don't last, just like most traditional businesses don't last. And if they do get off the ground and they start having success, then the next major hurdle that most companies have to jump through is the greed and ego stage of the business. Most companies don't make it through the greed and ego stage. And then if they get past that and they've been around 5, 6, 7, 8 years and they're clean, they aren't doing something crazy, with a bunch of big front end buy-ins or, screwy marketing compensation plans, then they're probably going to have a long and fruitful career. But those are the hoops. That's the process you have to go through. So, but can somebody, entrepreneur-minded person, who's teachable, can a person get involved with a well-established company, Prime America or Mary Kay or any of the others that we've talked about? Can they find the right mentor and put together the right 5 core fundamental systems? And can they develop the mindsets and their leadership abilities to the point where they can create a comfortable full-time income? I believe they can. I believe that they can. I believe that they can start today and that can happen. will they be able to create a multi-million-dollar income? Probably not. It's possible, but probably not. And then and as I say that, I think about, some of you may have seen, we'll try to put the link in the notes, but they recently found, in the archives of Network Marketing Support Services, they found the infomercial that we ran years ago, ran in every city throughout the United States and Canada, every major city. And I think about that infomercial, and it's like I hadn't seen it in 15, 20 years, and I really, it's hard for me to watch. I don't listen to myself. I don't listen to my own podcasts. I don't listen to my own stuff. And I definitely don't like to watch my own videos or whatever. But I did this because I hadn't seen it for years, so I went back and watched it. And I'm thinking about it. At the time of that video, I think, we had launched it, and it was about maybe 2 years old, and we'd done $18 million in sales. And 90% of the business was being done in 5 states. 5 states was where 90% of the business was being done. We kicking butt and taking names in 5 states. So I guess my point being, to create $1 million income, it doesn't take that large of it doesn't take hundreds of thousands of people to be able to create that kind of income if people are learning, growing, progressing, and coming down the road. Because if people are really being supported and helped, and they know that they're being challenged and they're growing as human beings, that's the game here. This is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. And if you create the right culture, then maybe you could create a multi-million-dollar income with an established company. I don't know for sure. Most of the people that you hear about that are new and doing really well with an established company, a lot of times they have as individuals gimmicked up the marketing plan, the compensation plan. And I think about, NSA National Safety Associates was a fire alarm company, strictly direct sales company for years and years and years. Over 20 years, they found a water filtration system, carbon water filtration system, thought it was a phenomenal product. They wanted to market it and sell it. When they came out with the new product, they made a couple of tweaks to their direct sales compensation plan. But still a couple of tweaks, and the whole concept was you recruit sales reps and you teach them how to go in the marketplace and sell the fire alarms. And then they can recruit other people. And once they have a certain volume, then they can become a direct distributor and order directly from the company. And it was, the basic direct sales structure. And I never will forget Jay Martin, the president at the time of that company, saying, somebody wanted to start as a direct distributor and they ordered $5,000 worth of water filters, and people coming into the office saying somebody just ordered $5,000 worth of these products. Can we do that? And he talked about that was a defining moment in that company, because he said, well, I guess we can. If they have enough confidence and they want to start at that level, let them start at that level. And that started the whole NSA wave that was created back then. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but I can tell you for sure the likelihood that it will be done is much less. But does that mean there's no opportunity with those companies? No, there's still plenty of opportunity for people to create full-time incomes. Plenty of opportunity. So it's not the same. It's just like it's no different than when McDonald's started. What you could purchase a McDonald's franchise for $15,000. I think that's right. $15,000 when McDonald's started. You know what? You can't do that today. And the opportunity is not the same today as it was then. So over time, all opportunities diminish. All do. It's not just network marketing. It's everything. But my main point is, a lot of people, they'll come and they'll say, well, Dale, if those 5 get 5 and they get 5 and they get 5, then eventually when you do the math and you do the numbers, every man, woman, child in the world is going to be a distributor for your company, and then the opportunity's gone. And that's another thing we've all heard if we've been around very long. I remember Johnny Carson walking out one night on the Tonight Show, and some of you know my old buddy in the Magic Club, Lance Burton from Louisville, Kentucky, was going to be on Johnny Carson. And during the monologue, Johnny says, well, it's now official. Every man, woman, and child in the United States is now an Herbalife distributor. And I never will forget that. And so it appears that way. So what's the secret? Well, the secret is to get in on the front end of something that's going to be huge. Well, how do you do that? Look at trends. Look at where markets are going. And I could go on, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. But you all have had or will have people that get out their calculator and say, well, if this happens and all this, and before you know it, the world's population is all involved and there's no opportunity left. Or any other not normal objection. And you'll hear there's a lot of very analytical people that will analyze till they're paralyzed. They'll analyze till they're paralyzed. But see, it's their nature. It's in their DNA. They're very analytical. And can analytical people build this business? Absolutely. They can. Will non-competitive people be able to build this business? Yes, they can. But there's certain characteristics and there's certain DNA that do better with this profession. But a lot that do better, they do better individually, but they have trouble duplicating. So there's yins and yangs all over the place with this business. But here's my point. When you get any kind of objection, the best thing you can do is isolate the objection. So what does that mean? Somebody comes to you and says, well, Dale, if these 5 get 5 and they get 5 and they get 5, then I've done the calculations, Dale, and within 117 days, everybody in the population of the earth would be a distributor, or whatever they say. And because of what I want to say is, you've done the calculations? Really? You've done the calculations. But don't say that. And we'll just use this as an example since we're on this. But so what you want to do is isolate the objection. And you would say, well, Stan, let me ask you, if you weren't concerned about that, then in your opinion, is this a business that you would want to get involved with? And usually, most of the time, they're going to say, well, no, because I'm also worried about this, that, and the other thing. Okay. Well, if you weren't worried about this, that, and the other thing, then in your opinion, is this a business you would want to get involved with? Well, not really, Dale, because, I found out that the owner is one of is a triplet, and traditionally triplets, file bankruptcy in business more than people that are not born as twins or as individuals. Triplets have trouble in business. Okay. Whatever they say. If you weren't concerned about the owner being a triplet, then in your opinion, is this something that you would want to get started with and get involved with? Well, no, because, and what you want to do is you just want to keep asking the question until you can isolate what is the real objection. Because a lot of times it's not an objection. It's just that they're very analytically minded, and it's something that they've calculated, and they just need some type of answer to it, but it's not the real objection. So you want to figure out what the real objection is. And the best way to do that is, if you weren't concerned about that, then. 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 Repetition is the key to learning. So if you weren't concerned about this, then would you? And once you've isolated the objection, then answer that objection and then get them enrolled in your program. A lot of people want to talk about the failure rate of network marketing. That's the other thing that you hear. I've read where the failure rate's 97% in network marketing, blah, blah, blah. And you hear all this. And that's true. But you know what? Most of the people that go to school, get their license to become a real estate agent, never list their first home. Most people go to school, get their license, spend their money, become an insurance agent, never sell their first policy. And it can go on and on and on. And the reality is, Shackley, Amway, Mary Kay, Prime America, they're all solid, strong, big companies that aren't going anywhere, that are going to be here. Our great-grandkids can become distributors for those companies if they want to be. So once you just look at the facts, get the emotion out of it, and the best way to do that is to isolate the objection. And anybody that says that the opportunity is not as great 15 years down the road as it is in the beginning is 100% correct. But the opportunity in the beginning also has much more risk than it will 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. So Stan, and everybody else, I hope that gave you some things to think about. Hope it answered your question. I hope you guys have a phenomenal week. This is Dale Calvert. We'll talk to you next week on another session of the MLMsuccess.com podcast.
If you haven't gone over to iTunes yet and rated and left this podcast a review, what are you waiting for? At Calvert Marketing Group, we want to spend our time on the projects that we know are providing the most value for our clients and customers. You leaving us a review and feedback on iTunes is something that helps us more than you realize. And more importantly, it helps others like you find us. So if you've not taken the time to rate this podcast, please go over to iTunes and do that for us now. It will only take a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and we will be back next week with another inspiring success story, wisdom of the ages training, or answers to your questions.